In this forecast, a massive winter storm is coming to the United States. This winter storm will dump up to a foot of snow from Texas to Maine over the next 72 hours. Also, significant severe weather is likely tomorrow. In this forecast, I'll give you the latest breakdown on who will see the snow, how much snow you'll see, and who is going to see severe weather tomorrow. But let's first begin with what's happening across the United States today that will lead into the potential for both severe weather and a big winter storm. Beginning with the western half of the United States, back by the Rocky Mountains, this is actually where that low pressure system is currently sitting. It looks very weak on the infrared imagery, and by the way, it is actually very weak. However, this thing is going to rapidly intensify as it heads over the central and southern plains, and eventually it'll move into areas into the Ohio Valley and eventually into the northeast, bringing a long track of snow from Texas all the way back through Maine over the next 3 to 4 days. On the other hand, there will be a potential for severe weather with this back down in areas like Louisiana, Texas, as well as Mississippi and Alabama as this system continues to track out to the east and as well as the east-northeast. There are already plenty of winter storm watches and warnings in effect anywhere from New Mexico and even Arizona all the way back through Ohio already. All these blue boxes are winter storm watches. This essentially means that winter storm conditions are likely or at least possible within the next 48 hours. And then back through Texas, there are plenty of winter weather advisories in those purple boxes, and a couple of winter storm warnings have already been issued there in West Texas and as well as into New Mexico, again, as we start to see some snow ramp up over the next 12 to 24 hours. So in the broad scheme of things, this trough will rapidly intensify over the southern plains. You can see how it just blows up back through Texas, Oklahoma, and even into the lower Mississippi Valley heading into late tomorrow. Eventually going into Wednesday, this trough really becomes more organized. It'll bring the threat for severe weather to those down in the south and southeast, along with a load of snow anywhere from, again, Texas all the way back through Maine over the next 3 to 4 days. Eventually going into Wednesday into Thursday, that trough races off to the north and east, and it'll eventually exit the United States late Thursday into Friday before a good chunk of the United States will clear out and be much drier heading into Friday and Saturday of this upcoming weekend. But again, this is a pretty big system that we're watching just over the next 24 hours because areas like Texas and Oklahoma are about to get hammered by this winter storm. So beginning with early tomorrow morning, this low pressure system will begin to develop more and more, bring some moderate to heavy snowfall for those back over in the Texas Panhandle, as well as back through western Oklahoma. On the other hand, we're going to be seeing a cold rain with a couple of rumbles of thunder being possible across the rest of Texas and into southern Oklahoma. That transition, though, from rain to snow happens pretty quickly going into the early afternoon hours on Tuesday. You can see how that snow just continues to kind of ramp up and develop back into northwest North Texas, as well as into southern Oklahoma. And by the late afternoon is when severe weather will begin to ramp up back down in southeast Texas. Meanwhile, there will be plenty of heavy snow falling back up in North Texas through Oklahoma, and eventually going into the evening and overnight hours is when that low pressure system moves off to the north and east, bringing some light to moderate snowfall for those in Arkansas, Missouri, back through Illinois, and into the Midwest and Ohio valleys where this will start to move towards. So in terms of snowfall over the next 24 to 48 hours, the computer models are estimating, at least the HRR model is showing, there's a possibility for at least 3 to 6 inches of snow from northwest North Texas all the way back through Arkansas. Now, one key note here is that the surface temperatures will be around 34 to 35 degrees in some spots. This does mean it'll be slightly harder for this snow to accumulate. Therefore, these snowfall totals will probably at least be a couple of inches lower than what they're currently estimated on the computer model. So keep that in the back of your head. Those are just estimates. I would expect them to be at least a couple of inches lower than what they're currently being shown there on that computer model. And there will be a potential for major travel impacts as well for those back over in the red shaded area in northern Arkansas. Meanwhile, moderate travel impacts anywhere from New Mexico all the way back through southern Missouri, and as well as that yellow shaded region indicating some minor impacts, primarily reduced visibility will be in those areas. Back through the Ohio Valley heading into tomorrow, this low pressure system will race off to the north and east. It'll make a greater impact going into the overnight hours Tuesday into Wednesday morning. Eventually heading closer to lunchtime, that snow moves off to the north, impacting areas like Michigan and anywhere really in the Midwest. And eventually going to Thursday morning, only some flurries or light snow will be remaining, with colder air as well coming to your location. In terms of snowfall, the computer models are estimating somewhere between about 3 to 6 inches. Isolated amounts closer to 7 to 8 inches of snow will be possible back through Arkansas and all the way into Illinois. But for the most part, I would expect somewhere between 2 to 5 inches, anywhere from, again, about Michigan back through Ohio and as well as into Indiana at this point. And then a bit further off to the north into the Midwest, there will be a potential for some areas to at least see a couple of inches of snow. So southeast Wisconsin might get upwards of a coating to a couple of inches, and then back through areas in Michigan, you might get upwards of 3 to 6 inches in a few locations. That would likely be in eastern Michigan at this point. There will again be some moderate travel impacts from Missouri all the way back through Ohio, any of that orange shaded region here. Yellow shaded region again is minor impacts, so areas like Cleveland, not expecting too many impacts there in terms of travel impacts, but there will definitely be a little bit of snow out there as we head into Wednesday. And a little bit further off to the north and east, this is where New England will start to get involved with this winter storm heading into late Wednesday night into Thursday. Plenty of snow will come out of this. Obviously, it will be a pretty quick moving system, so we're not going to see feet of snow, but areas will see several inches of snow at least. So anywhere Pennsylvania all the way back through Maine, current estimates have you guys within about 3 to 6 inches, with a few isolated locations maybe getting upwards of 8 inches, but the general scheme of things will probably be somewhere between about 1 to 4 inches across New England. All right, there's a big potential for severe weather heading into tomorrow, and just a heads up, I will be going live tonight for a live discussion. It'll be very detailed with detailed timing, so this will not be a fully detailed forecast here on severe weather. Make sure you tune into my live stream. It's gonna be around 8 o'clock Central Time, so stay tuned. But there's an enhanced risk for severe weather for those in Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and West Florida. Marginal threat extends all the way back into Texas, and even a slight risk back into southeast Texas near Houston. There is a significant chance for tornadoes, by the way. In terms of an EF2 plus potential, there is a 10% probability within a 25-mile radius right now. This would be a very big concern because, again, we have a very prime atmosphere for the potential for severe weather. So the general timing for right now, most of these storms will be during the afternoon, late afternoon primarily, into the evening hours. For those back over in eastern Louisiana, back through Mississippi and Alabama, you will more have a late evening and overnight threat. So we'll see storms really fire up then, going in closer to about 2 to 3 in the morning Wednesday. Storms will be rolling through areas near southeast Mississippi into southwest Alabama, and this will eventually enter the Florida Panhandle by early Wednesday morning. Make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe and click the post notifications button so you get notified when I go live tonight. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting.